Hi, so I wanted to show you this today, one of the crown jewels of my synth collection, the Oberheim OB Xa. It was released in 1981, 8-voice, 2-oscillator analog synth, and I guess it's become a real icon. Part of that is because it came out at the beginning of the 80s when the synth music explosion happened and so much great music was made on things like this and the Prophet 5, the Jupiter 8. But I don't think that's the only reason it's a classic. I think its raw sound is more beautiful than any other synth that I've ever played or owned. I can't say why that is, but I think part of it is because it's so wonky, this thing. You know, you're always worried it might go wrong, even though this one has actually never let me down. Touch wood. It's something about it that's just living and breathing, you know. The circuitry is always slightly changing and it keeps your ear really fascinated. It's just as well the sound's so great because the feature set is pathetic, really, compared to a modern synth. It's very, very basic. But let's face it, we listen to music, so at the end of the day, the sound is the most important thing, not the features. I've made a sample pack of this synth, and it goes into the Logic sampler or Contact sampler. There's about, I think, 5 different samples. They're all note-for-note samples, so you can check them out at my website. The link is below. I'm going to show you a little clip of them now. Yeah, so I'm really loving those samples. I think they come out great. I use them in double mode, so you get the left and right synth. You get this big stereo kind of mode, which I'll show you later. I'm going to show you around the synth, and then we'll just have a little bit of fun, listen to some sounds later on. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, by the way, please do so now and click on the alert bell. It really helps keep this thing rolling. All right, let's have a listen. Okay, so let me show you around this beast. You've got 2 oscillators. They're both the same. You've got a saw and a pulse. The pulse width is variable. Oscillator 2 is exactly the same. You can, of course, detune oscillator 2 against 1. You can also sync oscillator 2 to oscillator 1. And you can automate that sweep by pressing frequency to envelope. Then filter envelope is going to dictate the frequency of 2. Don't know if you can hear that. Straight away, it's a great sound. Obviously, if you take sync off, then you'll hear the pitch going all over the place. But that can be a cool effect as well sometimes. It's got an auto tune, by the way, which you really need because it goes out of tune a lot. So you just click that and you're almost in tune again. Moving along to the filter section, you've got a 4-pole and a 2-pole filter. The 4-pole is a stronger filter. The 2-pole lets more through. That's 4-pole. In 2-pole, you can hear it's a bit more of a weedy sound, but it's great for sort of more fizzy string type things. So it's really useful to have the 2 types. Tracking here, you can switch on or off. When it's on, obviously the filter is more open as you go further up the keyboard. You've got noise here as well, which I almost never use because there's no mixer for it. It's either on or off. Even the oscillators, you can either just have oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 can either be half on or full on. That's what I mean by it being very basic. But you'd be surprised you can get so many different tones just with that. But if I put the noise on, you can hear it's really up there, so you only use it if you really want that whooshing effect. Bit limiting. The envelopes are very self-explanatory, like envelopes on any synth. You've got a filter envelope and a loudness envelope. Moving on to the left, you've got the modulation section. It's just one LFO, and it can be a sine or a square or sample and hold. You know, so again, it's all very basic stuff. You can just modulate either just oscillator 1 or 2 or both of them, and you can also modulate the filter. For some reason on this synth though, everything's so basic, but it all just sounds so lovely. I don't know why, honestly. Just the warmth of that sound. You can automate the pulse width. So let me do that on just oscillator 1. You can do both of them together. It's sometimes quite nice to have a pulse and a saw together. It's where you get that really rich tone. There you have it. It's very basic. You get this super fat sound. It's just instant 80s. Over on the left-hand side, you've got Unison mode. Unison mode is very basic as well on this synth because you can't just assign one voice to mono. If you go into mono, all 8 voices are on the one sound. It can sound truly epic. And I'll give you an example of that. On this patch, it's in sync mode. Here's another Unison patch I've got I like. So, you know, it's got that great classic 80s kind of jazz funk sound that I love. It can be limiting, obviously, having 8 voices together. It's just a massive sound. It tends to sound best when you're in sync mode, because at least then you're getting one oscillator that's being doubled up rather than 2 detuned, which just gets a bit ridiculous sometimes. The only other thing of real note to point out about this synth is this section down here. You got these paddles. I mean, I hate the paddles personally because they're just odd to use. If you're used to a pitch bend and a mod wheel, but what's amazing about this section is you can add an extra LFO. So you've got an extra LFO here, and you can put it onto just one of the oscillators. So try and give you an example where it's good. Say I've got this string sound here. I can just apply the extra LFO to one. And equally with the pitch bend, I can just apply it only to oscillator 2. And it leads me to the other great feature. You've got split mode, so you can have one sound on the left and one on the right. Lovely. But you've got double mode, you know, which is the thing it shares with the Jupiter 8, one of my other favorite polysynths. You know, you can have either two different sounds and they pan left and right, or you can just put the same sound together on itself, and it's sort of a bit detuned in left and right, and it just sounds huge. And then you can use this modulation section to maybe just alter one of the sides. You've got lower and upper, so you can choose to just modulate lower. So to give you an example of the double mode, I've got this very plain patch. If I just double it on itself, can modulate just one side of it in this section. I've just got it modulating lower now. I switch this in. So then I get a bit more detune again. Well, of course I can do all of it. It's a beautiful sounding synth, as I said. I'm just going to have a little mess around with it now, so sit back and enjoy.